What's up, Whippers? It's Vice here, and we're looking at a new one today. So, Paradox Rift gave us this lovely Espathra card. It's a stage 1, non-EX, no rule box to be seen, so only gives up the one prize. Low HP at 120, but it's got a very interesting ability, this stance ability here. So what it says is, when you play it from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you prevent all damage from and effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon until the end of your opponent's turn. And so the wording is such that even if it was to sit on your bench, and even if it was to evolve while it was on your bench, that effect will stay. It's a bit like Mimikyu's Dummy Doll ability. So it's very interesting. You know, you could do things like evolve 2 in the same turn, so your opponent can't like escape rope you to get around it and things like that. And of course, like the appealing part about having stance is that you can force your opponent to effectively waste a turn of their game if they don't have the answer, which is something like Counter Catcher or Boss's Orders or Rope or cards like that, right? And with the rise of something like Counter Catcher, it means that Boss's Orders comes down proportionally to that most of the time, and that means that more and more you're going to be able to engineer these situations where your opponent can't outmaneuver the stance, and you'll be able to buy turns that other decks wouldn't be able to. And then down here you've got the attack Glittering Eyes. It does 70 plus for 2 psychic energy. If Tulip is in your discard pile, this attack does 70 more damage. And then Tulip is a supporter that came out at the same time, and it says put up to 4 in any combination of psychic Pokemon and basic psychic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. So that's the basic combo there, right? So Espathra can prevent an opponent from knocking out a Pokemon in one hit, which is a single prize attacker. So that's quite detrimental for your opponent, right? If they can't take a knockout every single turn against the single prize deck, you can engineer a situation where you overtake your opponent in the prize trade, or make it very difficult for them to keep up with you. Because I think when it comes to single prize decks, what you're really trying to do, what you're trying hard to do, is you're trying to outmaneuver and outlast your opponent's resources. And if your opponent has to try and use Boss's Orders and Rope and things like that, 4 or 5 times a game, they're going to find it very difficult to do so, especially if they fall behind. So that's the idea of the Espathra. We combine it with Xatu for the fantastic draw and energy acceleration that Clairvoyant Sense gives us. And then we've got a few other ideas at play. We've got a Cleffa here for early game draw. It's also a very nice pivot option. See, there's no retreat cost, right? So if you need to promote the Cleffa after an Espathra gets knocked out, you can put it up. Then you can accelerate energy to the bench with the Xatu, because of course Clairvoyant Sense only accelerates to the bench. You've also got Manaphy and Jirachi here to protect your board against the likes of Sableye and Radiant Greninja and all of those threats to your bench. And we elect to use the Alakazam here with Painful Spoons. So you might end up attacking sort of like in the early game, for example, with something like an Espathra with no Tulip, right? So an errant little 70 damage hit might not be that useful, but you can move the damage around with the Alakazam and use it to fix up some damage KO math. Because while Espathra does threaten a 2-hit KO on the likes of Giratina, you have to remember it's Pokemon like Charizard EX that really do create a bit of a problem for us. So to help us overcome the Charizard, we also play 3 Defiance Band in order to pump our damage up from 140 to 170. 340, that's KO on the Charizard. So we round things out with the Mimikyu here. The Safeguard ability is always going to be an important check, an important idea to prevent an opponent from winning in certain board states. And then we've got a litany of trainers, supporters, stadiums, and whatnot to help us set up. 4 Artazon. I find that flooding the board is really important with the deck, so 4 Artazon here. Got 2 Tulip. It is already a deck where it's quite nice to be able to recover energy, let alone Pokemon. So we do run multiple Tulip, and just the fact that Tulip needs to be in the discard pile in order for Espathra to do the damage that it needs. And then to supplement the recovery there, I'm also playing Super Rod and Rescue Carrier. So it's not double Super Rod, because I think double Super Rod, double Tulip is not really required. I like Carrier because it puts the Pokemon straight back into my hand. And then I like Rod because you can get back Espathra if you need it. Sometimes putting the energy back in the deck can be important too, so you can draw it out later. Maybe you're hedging your bets against an Iono in the late game or something like that. So Super Rod's quite nice. And the reason why we run these at all, instead of just like War Tulip, is, of course, because we need to be able to get back Manaphy and Jirachi is required. So that's needed. Just one energy retrieval in order to quickly pluck a couple of energy out of the discard pile for acceleration with Xatu. Very healthy 3 on the Ultra Ball and 4 research. So we've got all these discard effects in order to be able to get rid of the Tulip, which is needed to empower the Espathra's attack. 4 Level Ball here for consistency. And we've got 3 Iono here for that disruption that I mentioned towards like the mid to late game. And then just a boss's orders and a counter catcher to help us target down the Pokemon that we need. 11 energy here is the count that I've decided to go with. You're free to play with that if you like. Maybe you want to go more. Maybe you want to come down. Totally up to you. Maybe you cut the energy retrieval and go to 12. Maybe you cut the energy retrieval and you add a second boss's orders, because the gusting is quite light in this deck. So there are a few different ways that you can push it, a few different ideas for you to toy with. Also, don't forget that you can attack with Mind Ruler with Alakazam. It's an option there too. So look, this deck is a bit of fun, right? It's not a tournament winner, but if you put this together, take it down to your local league, you'll have a good time. There's certainly a very cohesive strategy here. There is an idea that has the correct cohesion in order to allow you to play a game of Pokemon cards successfully more often than not. And sometimes when it comes to these tier 3, tier 4 ideas, that's all you can ask for, you know? That's all you can ask for. So, look, I got a game coming up. If you enjoyed my deck profile here, if you enjoy seeing cards that look like this, please consider hitting subscribe on the YouTube, or follow me on Twitch, where I'm live multiple nights a week. I'd love to see you there. Until then, take care, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next live stream or video. So take care and goodbye for now. Cheers. All right, we got the Alakazam. So Artazon, let's think about the minimum requirements here, right? So we want a Flittle. We want a Flittle. I want Alakazam. Exclamation mark Comfey. So silly. So silly. And I think we just take Natu. Right? And the reason why we take Natu is like we sort of expect something like either just a knockout with Cram or a rope. And if they're going to rope us, I can't really think of any other... I've got to have 2 Natu in play, because if I was to put down... Let's say I put down a Cleffa on the bench, right? Or if I put down Cleffa on the bench and then I retreated the Natu into the Cleffa, if they play rope in that position, the only choice that I have is to promote Alakazam, and that really sucks for us. We don't want Alakazam in the active. No worries, Flex. Thank you so much for hanging out. Hopefully we'll see you again before the end of the stream. Hi, Milk. What deck would I suggest to learn to play first, assuming you had 0 experience? So, funnily enough, we had this exact question earlier. And so my my advice is to have a look at justinbasil.com. Now, I have to temper my answer here a little bit. Right, there's two things. First of all, I don't recommend Snorlax Stall because the way that it wants to play Pokemon cards is a little different to the norm, right? So, maybe not that deck. But, so we're going to do... I have to do this, normal attach. And then we're going to Defiance Band. And then we're going to Iono. This is still not enough to knock out Cram, which is really annoying. But we'll see. Alright. The game floats. The game lives. Let me just cook for a second, alright? Let me cook. Manaphy? Hello? Hello? Manaphy? Just give me a second, I gotta cook. Bruh. So, if I can finish the rest of my answer. So, I would say no Snorlax. But then otherwise, look at that list and pick a deck that, one, looks cool to you. If you like the idea of some of the Pokemon in it, I think that is the most important thing. Because there's going to come a point where you need to start, like, putting in the time to improve at the game, if that's what you want to do, right? If what you want to do is, like, continue to improve and get better at playing the Pokemon card game, then it has to be, or at least I think, it should be with a deck that you enjoy playing. Because if you don't actually have any attachment to the deck that you're playing, odds are you might not enjoy it that much, right? And you might not put in the time required to improve. I don't think we need Manaphy in this matchup. That's my sneaking suspicion. So, from that list, pick a deck that you like, except for Mew, because that whole deck rotates in a few months. And then otherwise, play a deck that interests you, I think. There's nothing wrong with that. We can use Counter Catcher here if things don't work out. That's good. Artazon here. I think we just go for Jirachi now. Yep. Thin the deck a little bit. Take a Flittle. And then we're going to use Clairvoyant. Yeah, if you like playing all sorts, then definitely play the ones that interest you, I guess. So, Espathra. And, you know, this is going to be good. Because now we hit the Tulip. Right on time. We're not getting anything too terribly interesting out of the discard pile. But more importantly, Tulip is entering the discard pile. And that means that Glittering Eyes is going to be doing the damage required to punch through our opponent's board here. So down goes the Cram. We take a prize. And now what? Now what? I'm left to wonder, what type of deck are we up against? If I had to guess, it's Sablezard. When you see double Cram hit the board, and you see a lack of, like, variety in the energy, that's a good sign. Hey, Zero. Starlight 3 weeks ago, and Miraidon was great to learn with, and you have great success just executing the game plan. Yeah, because the deck is reasonably straightforward, you can just go through the motions of playing the deck, for sure. And because like it's the skill floor starts a bit higher, it means that you can focus on the nuance of the small parts of the game that you have to learn, right? We have to hang on to our Defiance bands now, because I'm expecting that we'll see Radiant Charizard. So we need to be able to deal with that. It's interesting that this is not the first Sablezard that we've played against. And I'm also still assuming that it's Sablezard, right? It might not be, but there's good odds. We don't have another Espathra, so I'm not going to push my luck. Not going to push my luck. But then we would have had it, so... what's it going to be? So, I kind of want to put energy on the Radiant Alakazam. And that might seem a bit weird. But I want the option to be able to attack with it, for one. And for two, it's like a bit more difficult for them to deal with it using Cram. Or even Sableye. They need Charizard for it. So we can actually get some work done with it, right? Should look at it as actually being an attacker to leverage here. Yeah, we can just attack here and then hit them with the rope, and it's like, what do you do? Right? Yeah, I like that. Not bad, huh? A bit of fun. A bit of fun is what this deck is. It's been really nice to hear that so many people have been able to just learn the game by watching the videos and the content that I put out. It is reassuring to know that I'm not, like, it's not a waste of time, if that makes sense. It's a good reminder to let your content creators know that, you know, that you're having they're having a positive impact. Comments and things like that do help. I commented on For the Win TCG's video where he talked about a change coming with his videos because he's starting to experience like a bit of carpal tunnel in his hand, which is really unfortunate to read. I'm going to hit them up with the Alakazam. Let's do that. Alright, boom. Boom. He talked about it in his latest video, so... and he had some like really interesting insight in what he had to say as well, so I actually did comment and let him know that I thought it was insightful. Hoping for the best for his sake. Double Xatu now. I'm not looking to push my luck though. It would be kind of nice just to push by playing a research here, but I also enter Roxanne territory too, so I have to be a bit wary, right? So I think that I am going to play down the hand here. And I sort of don't want to use the Espathra yet. And we got a Tulip left too. It's not going to be a Mimikyu game. I don't really care for Counter Catcher So this might seem weird, but what I'm trying to do is protect myself against Roxanne. We've sort of got the cards remaining that we really need to be able to make the rest of the game work. Alakazam is going to be a difficult card for them to deal with. It's just outside a certain damage threshold where they can't really deal with it that well. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. We can really push our advantage here. Alright, they're roping. We didn't really want that to happen, but here we are anyhow. So then what I'm going to do next turn is I'm probably going to Tulip. I'm going to promote the Alakazam. Tulip to get back Espathra and cards like that. And then evolve and attack with Alakazam on the same turn. And that should be pretty strong. So we can get back a couple of energy and a couple of Espathra. And then we've got Rescue Carrier. So not bad. Not bad at all. Once we take a prize with Alakazam, it's going to remove it's going to allow them to attack with Charizard too. I thought for sure Roxanne was going to come out there. Dude, when did they take all those prizes? Did I mess up? I'm miscounting my prizes, bro. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, we gotta try. I'm looking for Iono. Alright, this is... Oh, I can't just attack with Radiant Alakazam either. I'm very afraid that they'll have everything they need to be able to win next turn. What'd they knock out last turn? I really want to Iono them. But if I do that, I think I lose, so I don't know. I can't remember if I've got a Espathra left. I'm going to try. Okay, good. That's the exact outcome that I needed. Because what I'm trying to do here is to prevent them from hitting me with Charizard. And I need to set up multiple turns of stance in order to, basically in order to win here. I should use the rod now. The only cards that I need are Espathra and Energy. And we gotta Iono them for the rest of the game. This is gonna be a tight endgame. They might just have it. Like, if they have Rope and Cram or something, like, they'll get there. But 24 cards in the deck, they didn't do enough flower selecting. Perhaps they didn't have much choice in the matter, but... yeah. I guess the other risky thing that I did was, so by playing Super Rod there, now they've got a win condition where they go for Jirachi. So there's the Charizard that I expected. I was hoping that they wouldn't hit this combination of cards, though. Because now, if they hit Rope, we lose. We lose. Alright, good. If they threw away Raihan, I reckon they've got game in hand. So, we're going to have to do this. Alright, boom, boom. Espathra again. Iono again. Oh, this is gonna be a tough end game. Very, very tough. And I don't know if I want to draw cards. I probably do. Try and dig for boss. So boss is the last piece of the puzzle. So now we just have to survive this last turn, and we can clinch victory right at the very end. I had to play it this way. I couldn't just attack with Alakazam on that previous turn because we would just lose to Charizard immediately. They had too many cards in hand. And the Charizard is what I've been trying to play around for like half this game. Sort of like... Basically, when they've got 2 prizes to go, like they can get you with the Charizard. And now what we've got to hope for is we got to hope, one, that they don't just get Rope off this. And... So, like, they can still just put Charizard active and tank a hit. And so that's why it's, like, not like, clear-cut. It's not clear-cut. Stance is doing an unbelievable amount of work for us. They had to lost zone a fire energy as well. Clara's not enough. Not enough. Not unless they also have Rope. And that's a waste too. Whoa, we got a game right at the end. GG's. Close game, huh? Got them right at the end. See, I knew that Professor's research in the mid-game was really important. I needed to... Basically, I needed to get rid of a bunch of cards that I had. Because they were basically gonna junk things up for me right at the end. Clutch, hey Emmy, yeah. Well, look, that'll probably be the sample gameplay video that I use for the YouTube. So, if you enjoyed that, please consider subscribing to me on YouTube or follow me on Twitch, where I'm live 4 to 5 times a week. I'd love to see it there. Otherwise, thank you all for being here, and I'll catch you in the next live stream or video. So, take care and goodbye.